All right. What's going on, y'all? Episode 11 of Marshall Time. It's been a couple weeks, but we back at it. We've been busy traveling, doing some good old some family quality time. But we back. What's up, bro?
What's good, bro? How you doing?
I'm good. Look, we Philly fans, so we doing wonderful. By the time if you guys watch this early or late, by the time you watch this, those Sixers may be moving on to the Eastern Conference Finals for the first time since 2001. A lot of y'all probably don't remember that. Y'all might have been too young to even remember. That was the same year AI won the last time we had an MVP. Made the finals, of course. The only team to beat the Lakers that year in the playoffs, of course, game one in LA Staples Center. So, we're going to start off with that. Philly Boston game 6 tonight. Let's take it back to game 4 because this series could have easily been 3-1, right? The Celtics take that 5-point lead. Marcus Smart's shot was just short, and I could have swore he was going to make that. As Philly sports fans, we've been through the heartbreak, and so I feel like this whole time we've just been bracing for things to go left. But shockingly, I think at this point for Sixers fans and Philly fans in general, it's been a cautiously optimistic tone, right? We know Embiid's great, but the question is, can he stay healthy? He's playing through injury. Kudos to him. James Harden has dropped 240 pieces. So to see this team mentally stay with it and stay locked in, this is something that we've talked about. My biggest concern with them was mentally against Boston. Can they stay locked in for a 7-game series? And the way Boston's been playing is what we've been accustomed to seeing these Sixers play in the second round, especially not having focus, not having that sense of urgency. And so I have nothing bad to say about the Sixers. Great job by Doc Rivers by bringing in Daniel House. Daniel House was huge in Boston in game 5 doing this thing. And so tonight in Philly, the crowd's going to be crazy. Why not? The Celtics are in trouble because Joel Embiid is locked in. Tyrese Maxey was huge on the road. I think the Sixers have finally figured out, hey, we can beat these guys. The Celtics have sort of been that team that we just can't get over that hump. But this might be it. I'm starting to believe. So I'm proud of what I've seen from Joel Embiid, James Harden, and these guys. Mentally, they've been locked in. So I'm excited. I'm excited to see what happens tonight.
Yes, sir. I'm excited too, bro. We already said, on the previous episodes that whoever wins this series, that's our pick to go to the finals. And just to see us be up 3-2 with an opportunity to close at home, that's the perfect scenario for us. Going into the series, I knew we had a chance, but I'm gonna be 100% honest. I didn't really pick us to win because I didn't believe in James Harden's playoff ability, and I got to give him full credit right here. He's been playing great for us. 240 pieces. That's more than I ever thought he would do for us, especially against Boston. You look at the Nets series, he wasn't even that impressive against the Nets, but he's took it to a whole nother level in this Celtics series. So I give him a lot of credit for that. The job's still not done. He has to show up tonight, just like the rest of the team has to show up tonight. And B, I want to give him credit for how he bounced back. That fourth quarter in game 5, he kind of disappointed me because Al Horford was locking him up. And, I know people are saying he's playing hurt and all that, but there's no excuses at this point. It's the playoffs. You're the MVP. It's time to show up. You know what I mean? So he bounced back last game. Like you said, Maxey showed out. Even Tobias played good. You know what I mean? So we got, when the team is flowing like that and everybody's scoring, everybody's touching the ball, getting to their spots, we can beat anybody in the league. It's just a matter of, being locked in mentally and playing that way consistently. So tonight's going to be a big one. Tonight, I'm expecting a big game from Embiid. I'm expecting a big game from Harden, Maxey, Tobias. Hopefully, the bench can contribute. Melton, Daniel House. You know what I mean? I think we're right there. We just have to really capitalize it and stay locked in. We're right there.
Every year we've seen this team lose in the second round. 2001 is the last time they've gotten over this. That's a long time.
Right.
01. You know what I'm saying? I remember that run. So that's a long time ago. This team just seems different mentally. Having a guy like PJ Tucker, I think is huge, especially more so during the postseason. Having a guy that's going to keep these guys accountable. We haven't had that, right? Maybe since Jimmy Butler. And so to have another guy like PJ Tucker come playoff time he's going to get the hustle points, those loose balls. He's going to, game 4, he had a huge play, right? That rebound and put back and foul, right? That was huge in the crunch time, right? So we haven't had those guys that are going to make those winning plays and just mentally keep guys locked in. And so I got to give kudos to PJ Tucker. I want more Daniel House minutes, having another sort of athletic factor on the floor is huge, right? So on the flip side to Boston, man, I cover them for my job. And this has been the biggest concern from people on the outside looking in is like the talent's there, but you have a new head coach, a young head coach in Joe Mazzulla, who's getting a lot of the criticism. And also this team sometimes just, when they're locked in, when they're hitting their threes, they're almost unbeatable, right? But then when that shot's not falling, when they're not sort of locked in, there's no sense of urgency. That's what we saw. Everything, all the fears for Boston fans and Boston media came true in Game 5. And I don't know how, and on Game 5, an opportunity to go up 3-2 on your home floor. I was there. There was no energy at all, no urgency until Peyton Pritchard and those guys, Sam Hauser, came in late in the game and sort of made it a game, right? And so I know Joe Mazzulla's getting a lot of criticism. Yes, there's some things that he can do a better job at, and there's some questionable things, especially in Game 4, not calling a timeout. That's a huge, huge, huge question mark. But also, I got to look at the players, right? I mean, Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, Marcus Smart, you guys have been here before. Like, you've made the finals last year. You've made the Eastern Conference Finals. You went up against you've had these battles throughout the years. So the coach is one thing, but at a certain point, you're a pro athlete. You got to have it within yourself to say, look, we got to show up, and we can't take this moment lightly. We can't take this moment for granted. And it's not guaranteed. I feel like these guys feel like, the Bucks are out of it. We made the finals last year. Like, this is our destiny. We're the Celtics. No, like, this isn't promised, because this core can easily be broken up if this thing goes south tonight. There's already talks about Jaylen Brown. Does he want to leave, or are they going to give him that contract? Like, they got to take advantage of this moment. Both these teams. This is for Boston and Philly. With respect to Miami, New York, Miami should win that series. Respect to Jimmy Butler. Boston and Philly should be the favorites. Whoever moves on, they're the favorites to represent the Eastern Conference. This might be your best opportunity to make an NBA Finals for Philly. And for Boston, this is your best opportunity to actually not only make it, but win it. And so they're playing with fire, right? And so I'm looking at Jason Tatum. I know we text back and forth. I'm like, man, I haven't seen enough of that. I'm tough when it comes to young players and how some people try to crown them earlier than when they're ready. Tatum's great. He's a great player. Great player. I still haven't seen that next level that I need to see. And it stems back from last year's playoffs in the finals, where I thought Jaylen Brown was the Celtics' best player, right? And once again, that gap between Brown and Tatum, people may not want to have that conversation. Tatum is the more talented player, but at a certain point, we got to look at production and the impact that I see out there. Game 4, Brown had 12 of how many points they had in the first quarter? He had 12 of them. Like, I just see that impact that Brown has. I just need to see Tatum has to come out firing tonight. He has to have a great game from start to finish. That's just my take when it comes to Boston.
Yeah, Boston. I think the biggest problem, and we see it, the coaching. And I'm not even one to really blame coaching when it comes to the NBA, because at the end of the day, it's about the players putting the ball in the hoop. But coaching does matter. And you can tell that new voice in the locker room just isn't resonating with them. Last year on defense, they were hungrier. Like, everybody 1 through 5 was all over the court, hustling, scrapping, and they have the same players. They even got better at it, Malcolm Brogdon. So the energy on defense isn't there for them as much as it was last year. As far as the offensive side, Mazzulla, I feel like he doesn't draw up enough plays for certain players to get into their sets. It's just like a whole bunch of freelancing out there. Even like you said, they didn't call that timeout on that last possession, and it resulted in a Marcus Smart shot. That's not what you really want. You want either Tatum or Brown taking that shot. So just little stuff like that. And it was a quote during the season. I remember Marcus Smart. He said, "We really don't run plays. A lot of our stuff is random." That's just a sign right there that this isn't really what we're used to. Because last year when they had Udoka, everything was crisp for them. Even though they lost the finals, they made it there and they had a great successful season. And I'm pretty sure all the players were expecting him to be back this year. And let's try again. Let's do it again. As far as Tatum and Brown, Tatum is the better player. Brown has closed the gap on him. But the one thing I notice a lot about Tatum is he gets off to these slow starts, and he may not be putting the ball in the hoop, but he's gotten so much better as a playmaker. And these Boston guys just aren't hitting their shots. Last game, Al Horford probably missed 7 threes. He went like over 7 from three. And a lot of them was from Tatum, getting past his man. And the defense is collapsing because once you see Tatum at the rim, everybody's going to him. He's kicking it out to the corner. Brick. You know what I mean? So I just feel like Boston, they have to hit their shots, man. They have so many shooters that are like inconsistent. Like Al Horford, one game he hit, what, 4 or 5 threes on this? The next 2 games, he hasn't been hitting that much. Marcus Smart, he'll hit a couple, but some games he's off. Same thing with Derek White. Last series against the Hawks, he was like a 40% shooter. They showed the stat. He's like 20% this series. You know what I mean? So it's just a lot of inconsistent shooting from that team. And then their energy just isn't there on defense this series. And it hasn't been like that this year. And they've also struggled closing out close games. So that's another problem for them.
Yeah, man, when you hire a 34-year-old coach, first-time head coach, what do you expect, right? Like, so it's like Missoula's in a tough spot anyway, because if they win, it's like, oh, you got Tatum, Brown, it's the same group, and they got better. But if you lose, this is the issue here. So Missoula, to me, is in a lose-lose situation. That was a tough spot that the Celtics were in anyway. Udoka was suspended right before the season, literally before the season started. Brad Stevens has to make a decision, and obviously he went with Missoula. So he's in a tough spot. As far as this being your first head coaching job in Boston, a team with championship aspirations, I'm not surprised at what we're seeing from him. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's going to be growing pains. Missoula is the same age as me. You know what I mean? I can't imagine coaching the Boston Celtics, a team that has championship aspirations, right? So he's in a tough spot. He has some things to learn and grow. I think there's blame to go all around. Missoula is up there. I think these guys, the veterans, they have to figure it out. Like, look, there's no excuse to not have that urgency regardless. There's no excuse, and we've had that kind of complaint about the Sixers in past years. And I've refrained from totally blaming the coaches. I look at the players. Like, you gotta lock in. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, we can't want it for you at a certain point. You gotta want it. There's no, on your home floor, there's just no excuse. And with Boston, like you said, if the shots aren't falling, like, this is the danger of being a team that relies on a three-point shooting. If your shot's not falling, then what? So, but it's not like they don't have the guys that can attack. Brown and Tatum, they have the ability to attack. Derek White can attack. Like, so it's like, there is no excuse. This team, like, we talk about complete rosters. This team on paper, it makes sense. Like, you have the 2 talented wings. You have multiple ball handlers. You have a veteran in Horford. You have an athletic big in Rob Williams. So it's like, this team is made to compete, So I think tonight just comes down to, look, for Philly, they know what they have to do. Joel Embiid is a presence out there. They do not want to attack the rim. Just his presence out there deters them from even doing anything at the basket. They're immediately looking to try to kick it out, So just his presence out there takes that away. Being home, the role players are going to play better. We see that all throughout the playoffs. So for the Celtics, look, it's win or go home. So I think for them, it's a mental thing, honestly. Can they be locked in? So I'm excited, though. We'll see. Then the other series, Miami, New York. Miami's up 3-2. Game 6 is Friday in Miami. Game 7 will be Monday in New York. I think for this series, the Knicks just aren't ready. I think Jalen Brunson is a great player. He's a great addition. I think I mentioned Julius Randle in the playoffs in one of our other podcasts. I think Julius Randle easily puts himself out of the game sometimes, right? Like, offensively, if his shot's not falling, he's not going to be hustling for rebounds. He's not going to be hustling defensively. He easily takes himself out of games, which in turn hurts the team, right? And so I look at a Miami team with the backcourt of Gabe Vincent, Max Strus, Kevin Love, who's way beyond cooked. He can't even hit shots anymore. It's crazy. Jimmy Butler is Jimmy Butler come playoff time. We know that. But it's just Miami. They seem to be cohesive offensively. Defensively, they're locked in. We know how Miami is in the playoffs. As an 8th seed, and they lost the playing game to Atlanta, right? Like, they lost that game. So to be an 8th seed, to beat the top seed, and now you're on the brink of making Eastern Conference Finals, kudos to Miami. But the Knicks just aren't ready. I still think they need somebody else to go along with Jalen Brunson. I don't think Brunson can be the number one guy on a champion. If they want to make a championship run, Brunson is a perfect secondary option. I think there's still another level that they can take when it comes to adding another piece that would take them to the next level. But Miami should win this series. I say they win Friday in Miami.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think Miami's going to finish it out on Friday. I got to give a lot of credit to Miami because I was at that play-in game versus the Hawks, and they didn't look like a playoff-ready team in that game. Like, they just looked lost out there. And they even had Tyler Hero playing. Tyler Hero's not even playing this playoff run, and they're doing a good job. So I just gotta give a lot of credit to them. We know Jimmy Butler is balling; he's always going to ball in the playoffs. But a lot of their role players have stepped up. They're hitting open shots, and they just wanted more than the Knicks. You can just look at it; they're getting a lot of offensive rebounds. They're diving on the ball, diving on the floor for loose balls. They're playing great defense, and they're just sharing the ball and moving the ball well. They're just playing like a team, and that also credit to Eric Spoelstra, who's been a great coach his whole career. So yeah, it's not too much there. I think the Knicks, like you said, they're not really ready yet. They've shown potential, they've shown flashes. And hey, they might even win Friday. If they do, then it's up in the air. But I'm going with the Heat for my money just because they've been there before. And like I said, they've been playing good this whole playoff run. So, I can't really go against them right now.
I trust that. I know what type of effort and style of play Miami's going to have. There's a sustained ability. They've shown a more consistent effort in this series in the first round too, right? Like we know how they're going to play. They just seem to be a cohesive unit. Just offensively, you see how they're, I don't know, just constant movement. Guys, one thing I've always appreciated about Miami and Eric Spoelstra, guys are just encouraged. They just seem confident when they're out there. Like Gabe Vincent and Max Strus, Duncan Robinson, these are undrafted free agent guys, right? Guys who have been cut, bounced around, having to fight their way to make this league. Haywood Highsmith, I think, former Sixer. He's making plays, but this is a lot. This is what I'm talking about when it comes to a lot of times for me, coaching. A lot of it is developing, but giving these players confidence to shine in their moments. When I look at Miami play, those guys are confident. Duncan Robinson he got a big contract, and he hasn't really been playing much this season, right? He gets into this series last night. They took the loss, but he made some big shots for them. And so that comes from coaching and giving these guys confidence. Gabe Vincent, Max Strus, the average, unless you're locked into basketball and college ball, this is probably maybe your first time hearing about these guys over the last year or so, right? Like like these aren't household names. And so Miami finds these guys. I just don't understand how they're able to find these guys, develop them, and they're ready to play in the biggest moments. They're just so confident. Max Strus has been playing. He's been playing amazing. The starting backcourt is Max Strus and Gabe Vincent. You know what I mean? And they're on the brink of making the Eastern Conference Finals. If that doesn't tell you talent evaluation and developing is so huge, and it's lacking in a lot of NBA teams today. Miami does it the best, one of the best. I'm trying to think of other franchises who do it the best as far as combining evaluation and development. Pound for pound, Miami might be number one. That's another show for another topic, right? But Miami does it.
It's true because most teams they'll catch lightning in a bottle and they'll have a good draft class or a couple good draft classes, and then their franchise is set. But the Heat, like you said, every year they find, random players, that you didn't expect to show up, man. It's funny because I got a friend, shout out to my boy D, or he's a Heat fan. Every time we talk ball, so, what the Heat going to do? Oh, don't worry, Pat Riley, he'll find somebody. And I'm like, all right. And then they really do end up finding some people that contribute, and it's just kind of crazy. So it all starts at the top.
They're evaluating these guys. They're seeing these guys. Okay, we see what the potential is. It's not everybody can see the potential in somebody and say, I can see what they can be. Once we get them in our program, develop them, this is how they can contribute and give them that confidence. It's not just evaluating, it's developing and giving them that confidence. When I watch Miami's players like Strus, like Vincent, like Robinson, like, Highsmith, I just see confident players that are just going to compete. And that just speaks to that front office and that organization, everything that they've been about. All right, Western Conference, Denver, Phoenix, 3-2, Game 6 is tonight, Thursday night, in Phoenix. DeAndre Ayton is out with a rib contusion. Jamal Murray is questionable with a non-COVID illness. I think for me, this matchup is simple. It's Denver's depth versus Booker and KD. That's just what it comes down to. I think if Phoenix is going to win this series and win the next series and win the championship, KD and Booker have to be the great players that they are every single minute. Like 30, I'm talking 30 and 40 pieces because they can't afford to not have anything less. Because I mean, you're already without Chris Paul, your floor general. You're missing DeAndre Ayton. You know, as much as people may want to complain about his efforts and ability to make an impact, that's one less body that you have, right? So that's huge. So now you're relying on, backups to step up even more. We talk about roles, guys having to step up into roles that they're not used to. They're not always ready for that moment. There's a reason why, these guys are coming off the bench, right? Because that's their role. That's their proper role. But now you're asking a campaign to log more minutes. Torrey Craig, Landry Shamet, these guys are solid players within certain minutes. But when you're asking them to do more than what they're capable of, we're playing with fire there. So I look at Denver. I mean, Jokic had 29, Jamal Murray had 19, Michael Porter Jr. had 19, Aaron Gordon had 10, Bruce Brown had 25 off the bench. Too much firepower for Denver. I mean, with Denver against Phoenix. So I think Denver should win this series, actually. I still go with Denver, whether it's in 6 or in 7. Sunday, game 7 would be in Denver. I'm going with Denver.
Well, my original pick was the Suns or Warriors making out of the West. So I'm gonna stick with that. It sounds crazy, but you never know. Honestly, with Ayton being out tonight, I think that might benefit the Suns. I know it's a less body, but if you watch the game and you watch his body language, you watch the little clips of the huddle, Ayton don't even want to be there. He don't even want to play. He's not hustling. He can't guard Jokic regardless, but he's not even giving a good effort. Jock Landale, he's hustling more than Ayton on offense and defense. So that just speaks right there. Like, you got a backup coming in giving more energy than you. And you've been, you were a top pick for this team. You've been with this team for a few years now. You made it to the finals with this team. And we know him and Monty Williams have their little beef or whatever, or had a little beef. So you can just tell he don't want to be there, and that is what it is. And it seems like he's harming the team more than he's helping them. So I think they're going to benefit from him being out. We'll see how it really goes when it comes to foul trouble and minutes. As far as Chris Paul, they've been playing faster without him. Now we know Chris Paul is, he's a great player with IQ. He's a great playmaker. But sometimes you do got to play fast, especially when you're already behind the 8 ball in terms of how many bodies you have, the depth you have. You got to play faster. And I mean, the way D-Book and KD's been playing, you can't count them out. So we'll see how that goes. One thing I do want to say, and I don't know why Monty Williams took so long to do this. He finally started playing Terrence Ross and TJ Warren. The first 2 games in the series, he didn't play them at all. And you could tell they needed more bench scoring. Then when they went home to Phoenix, he played them and they won both games. So, I mean, I'm not saying it's going to make a big difference, but it's better than Ish Wayne. What's his name? Isaiah Wainwright and
Wainwright.
These other guys. Like, I'm like, nah, just give me TJ Warren and Terrence Ross, people who have gotten buckets in the league before, people who can shoot, create their own shot, and let's just go with it. We'll see what happens. So, I'm gonna stick with my pick. Obviously, the known pick is go with the Nuggets, but I'm gonna stay with who I had originally. I'm not gonna switch it up now.
Yeah, I mean, I've liked Denver. Entering these playoffs. I think I expected them to impress the most early on in the playoffs. I just think the way their style of play and the Joker, just how all those guys play off of him, the energy that they have. And I like the group that they got off the bench. I like Bruce Brown. I like Christian Braun. I like Jeff Green. I like the makeup of this team. I like Michael Malone, their coach. So I trust that they'll close it out. I really want to see an Embiid Jokic matchup finals. I think that would be amazing to see. The two top big guys in this league, 2 of the top 5 guys in this league. I just think that would be so amazing to see. I'm rooting for that crash course, Embiid Jokic matchup. And we know the conversation on social media is going to be very divisive, but I just want to enjoy 2 talented players who I think like each other. I don't think there's any beef or rivalry there, and there shouldn't be. But I think that would be an amazing matchup to see. And then when it comes to DeAndre Ayton, man, I was off on him in the Bucks Suns final series. I thought when I saw his impact or his lack of a presence in that final series. I didn't see enough of what I think the Suns needed in that series. I knew then, like, yeah, he's not that guy. You know what I mean? Like, he's talent. I'm not saying he's not. He's far from trash. He's a talented player, but you know when a player really is having an impact and has a presence out there. And this series is we're seeing that right now. Not hustling, just not wanting to be out there. Pouting for whatever reason. Like, this is the playoffs. Like, your team needs you. Like, not having a presence out there. And so I've been out on DeAndre Ayton. I don't know what they're going to do because he doesn't want to be there. Obviously, him and Monty had an issue dating back to last year in the playoffs, but they still decided to bring him back. So they have to figure that out. But it's clear that that situation has run its course, and they got to figure it out. And then the other series, Golden State, LA, is the corgi. The corgi is the dog going to be right now. So far, so good. The Lakers up 3-2, Game 6 Friday. Game 7 will be Sunday in Golden State. Listen, man, I'm feeling the Warriors vibe. I'm just saying they're going to do it. They're going to come back down 3-1 and do it. I'm going to say it. I think Game 6, I can see Steph. I can see Klay Thompson. I can see Klay get Game 6 Klay having a big game. I was encouraged by what I saw from Andrew Wiggins last night. If they get that Andrew Wiggins again, it's going to be a huge help. Jordan Poole seemed to sort of he made some shots. He wasn't out of control. Draymond Green, I haven't seen him play like that in a long time. Like, he was aggressive from the start. You want to see more of that. I'm gonna pick Golden State to come back and win in 7. That was my original pick in this series. I'm gonna stick with it. I'm gonna say Golden State wins it in 7. They're gonna come back down 3-1. They're gonna do it.
I'm right with you. That was my original pick as well, just like the Suns. I'm going with the Warriors in 7. As far as the corgi, then that's crazy. It's kind of like pushing me away from the Warriors because I feel like it's become too popular, and I know people are about to start betting on the Warriors, and I feel like Vegas is going to do the switcheroo last minute, let the Lakers win. But that's a whole nother topic. But from a basketball standpoint, the Warriors can do it. Like you said, a lot of people contributed last night. Wiggins, Draymond. Even though I don't expect Draymond to score 20 again,
No, it's not
I'm
happening.
just I've never been a Draymond guy, but anytime he's being aggressive, it's a help for the Warriors, especially if he's making his shots.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing that's funny to me about Draymond is, and I gotta say it, he's so much of a Bron fan that it's like he hasn't been showing me that Draymond energy that he shows in any other series.
No,
I
you
don't
know
like
what?
that.
Come on, you know
I
what
don't,
that is.
but I don't like that, especially if you're playing for the Warriors, you're trying to win another chip, continue on the legacy. I don't care who I'm playing. I don't care if you're a fan of Brian or whatever it is. You gotta go out there and show that same energy. I remember it was a play in one of the games where Brian kind of like hit him or something, and he got back up like everything was fine. But if that was Sabonis, he'd have been
Oh
ready to
yeah,
stomp on his neck or something. I'm like, man, come on, you
too
can't do
much
that.
smiling for
You
Draymond.
got
Too
you
much
gotta keep that
friendly.
same energy all the time, and I don't like that. But hey, that's what he's going to do. That's what he's going to do. But at the end of the day, they need Klay to step up. That's the biggest thing.
Mm-hmm.
Because Klay, first of all, he's been saying, "Oh, I've been waiting to play the Lakers in the playoffs my whole career because my dad played for him." Yada yada yada. Well, you haven't really shown much. You had a good game 1 or 2, whatever. But these past couple games hasn't been the Klay that I'm used to seeing, that we're used to seeing.
Mm-hmm.
So he needs to step up, man. I mean, he's been taking a lot of shots that are like we're used to him making some crazy shots, but he's been taking them and missing them. So it's time for him to make them. I know Game 6 Klay, that's his name, whatever. So he needs to prove it. But I'll tell you what, man, I got to give credit to the Lakers. They've been playing great defense on the Warriors. They've been playing great defense, and the role players have been stepping up. Lonnie Walker had a huge fourth quarter, 15 points. That was huge for him, and it's a great story for him. Um, D'Angelo Russell, when he plays good, they usually win. He's like their X factor. So the Warriors tomorrow night, man, they just really have to lock in. I know they've been a struggling road team, but they have to cut down on their turnovers, stop fouling so much, and take some good shots. They can do it. And I'll tell you
Yeah.
what, if it goes Game 7, the Warriors are winning. That's my money.
Oh yeah.
That's where my money's at.
Back in the Bay, back in San Francisco for Game 7, Steph. Like, yeah, you don't want to bet against that. And I just love the energy that they play with. I think Draymond set the tone early. They were attacking. They were playing fast pace, getting in the rhythm. They were in the rhythm last night, and it showed all around from Draymond to Wiggins. Look, I'm a huge fan of Wiggins. Like, I think he gets a bad rep. Obviously, he was a hot, top draft pick. But as far as his role here in Golden State, Like he's a superstar in his role and what he's done. What he did last year in the finals, he was their second best player. What he did defensively, and what he provided offensively, what he did last night, like he has the ability to do it. It's just, some guys have that talent, but mentally they're not, they don't have that instinct to attack every single night, every single time, right? But Wiggins has the talent. He showed it last night. And so they can get that type of Wiggins because before the playoffs, he had been out for some time, right? People still got to remember he missed a lot of basketball time, right? So to get him back in rhythm will be huge for them. But I think we know what Steph's going to do. Hopefully Draymond can still provide that same energy and be in attack mode still. And same with Wiggins. But Klay Thompson has to be Klay. He has to give you, I'm going to say 20 to 25. That's what I'm looking for Klay.
I need 30. I need 30 in a signature Game 6 Klay game. Send it back to the Bay. I think he's due for one. People were saying he's washed.
He's not washed.
He's not. He's just struggling.
He's not as good as he used to be, and he had major injuries, right? And he's older. Like you can't expect these guys to be the same that they were 2, 3, 4 years ago. Like he's not washed though. He's just in a different phase of his career. He's far from washed. But Steph Curry, man, what he's doing this series, what he's been doing all season, it's impressive to see. Just cherish these moments because it's rare to see us. I was asking somebody this the other night. I don't think we've ever seen a small guard at 34 or 35 still be this elite. That's rare. Like it's one thing to see a bigger guy still perform, but 6'2", 6'3", what he's doing, like he had a triple-double the other night. Like Steph is still playing at a high level, and it's rare.
If you ask me, I think he's gotten better. I think he's gotten better than, when he first busted onto the scene, 2014, 2015, 2016. Because I think he's improved on defense. He's gotten stronger. Yeah. I think he's gotten better, actually.
It's the body. He looks stronger.
Yeah.
And the way he's able to attack and finish now, and the shot is just as pure as ever. We know that. And he has the experience. He's been here before. So that alone makes you better as well. But, man, Steph, we'll have a conversation about Steph eventually about where we rank him because he moved way up on my list after what I saw in the finals last year. We can talk about that another time, but think about Sunday, bro. Like we could have 3 Game 7s. Obviously, Philly fans, we don't want that to happen. But Sunday could have Philly, Boston. I look at this. I didn't realize this. I look at the schedule. Could have Philly, Boston, Denver, Phoenix, and LA Golden State all on Sunday. Game 7 between the Knicks and Heat would be Monday, but. Man, Sunday could be a classic for NBA fans. That's all I'm saying. So,
and I know the NBA, they looking to capitalize off of it. We want to see who's the team.
I think we're going to have there's going to be 1 Game 7 at least. I don't know which one.
For sure.
There's going to be at least one. I think obviously people think the Golden State having to win 3 straight games may be impossible, but I think it's a good chance we see Game 7 in San Francisco. I think it's a good chance. That's what I would say. If I had to make a pick between these 3, I can see Golden State forcing a Game 7. I can see that. I can see it.
Me too. I think it's going to I definitely would pick Golden State Game 7. And if the NBA, if they really was trying, make some money off of it, I hate to say it, but they would make the Sixers Celtics Game 7 too.
Yeah, I mean, they will make all 3 Game 7s. Yeah, I mean, KD and Booker Game 7 too.
Yeah, I know.
All 3 would be crazy.
We gotta get it done. I don't even want to think about that. We gotta get it done tonight.
I don't want to play with fire. I don't want to go back to Boston Game 7. You know what I'm saying? Like we can say we want about the Celtics and how they played the last couple of games, but they still made that finals run last year. They played 2 Game 7s last year against the Bucks and the Heat, so they know what that life's about, right?
I don't even want to go through a Game 7 because Game 4 was crazy enough for me. I couldn't take that game.
And as Philly fans, we've been through this. I'm just getting over the Super Bowl loss. You feel me? Right. So let's not play with fire. Like let's not get we got one up on them, so we can afford to let this one up. No. So we'll see. It could be 3 Game 7s on Sunday. Philly, Boston, Denver, Phoenix, Lakers, Golden State, and Game 7 for the Heat and Knicks would be Monday, but I don't think that's going 7. But you never know. Playoff basketball is unpredictable sometimes, so we'll see. But that's episode 11. Y'all enjoy these games tonight. and Friday. And we'll see you next week. Thanks for watching.
Peace out.